you touched on cholesterol. I definitely want to talk about cholesterol.
Okay.
But before I get to that, my favorite mineral, you know, in the world of nutrition, you get favorites, right? You probably have your favorites, and
Sure.
I know one of them that's one of my personal favorites, and I know is one of yours, is selenium. So tell us a little bit about selenium, this incredible, incredible mineral, and some of the things that you can use it for. And I want you to place special attention on how selenium is involved with the thyroid, how selenium is involved with diabetes, and all the different things that you can use with this incredible mineral that, by the way, is active in microgram quantities, the tiniest of quantities. Maybe touch on that a little bit.
Okay, as you say, selenium is one of those wonderful trace minerals, which is an essential nutrient. We need it. We can't live without it. And it has many functions. It's a structural mineral when it comes to chromosomes, right?
Epigenetics.
Epigenetics, we'll get into that, right? But it's a structural piece in the actual normal double helix.
Is it one of the fingers that you were talking about?
It's one of the metallic
Yeah.
fingers that keeps this double helix of the chromosome in the proper distance of each other. There's a little strut there. In the middle of these struts, there's all these different minerals, and selenium is one of them.
Wow. So the helix itself is an incredibly organized structure, and every little component of it is key. The distance that the nucleotides are from each other, all that is tightly, tightly regulated, and minerals like selenium are involved in making sure that this structure stays intact. That's what the fingers are.
Exactly. And when you have a deficiency of selenium, many things happen. In the biochemical level, you can't recycle glutathione, which is one of the most potent antioxidants made by the body.
The most, maybe.
And it's used to protect you from cancer and fend off inflammation in your arteries so you don't get clogged arteries and that kind of stuff. But if you don't have enough selenium, you use one molecule of glutathione and it sort of deactivates. But when you have selenium, you can recycle that one molecule of glutathione 1,000 times.
That's awesome.
That's very awesome. And then it protects your brain from MS. When you have MS, you have a terrible, terrible selenium deficiency because it allows the free radical damage to the myelin and the white matter of the brain again, and you get these lesions in the brain about the size of a lima bean that cause MS.
So supplementing with selenium
Can prevent or reverse MS.
Wow.
Along with the 90 essential nutrients. It can't not by itself.
That's right. So 200 micrograms to 400 micrograms?
Well, I like to be a little heavy-handed.
600?
I like to be a little heavy-handed.
800?
A milligram, yeah.
A milligram of
1,000
selenium?
microgram, yeah.
Okay.
When you have these diseases, you need to use a bigger hammer, right?
Okay.
HIV. You can prevent HIV from mutating to AIDS by supplementing with selenium.
Wow.
1 milligram a day. What's the difference between Arthur Ashe, the great black tennis player, and Magic Johnson, the great black basketball player? One is dead, one's alive. Yeah. One's supplementing with selenium, one didn't.
That's what Magic Johnson's doing? Oh, that's interesting.
Now,
how about even just a common cold or just like flus and that kind of thing?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there. That's very good. You're on top of it.
All right.
But I also, it's one of the things they actually discovered, Dr. Gerhard Strauser, a grand man, he's the guy who discovered that selenium is an essential nutrient back in 1957.
They didn't consider it essential back then.
No, they considered it poison.
That's
exactly.
Right.
They thought it was a poison. Even medical doctors today still think it's a poison.
Yeah.
But it actually was discovered to be an essential nutrient. And the disease he was looking at was liver necrosis, the death of your liver. If you survived death of your liver, you got cirrhosis of the liver, right? And this is all caused by not drinking, because 99% of the people who get liver cirrhosis never took a drink of alcohol in their life.
Right.
It's a selenium deficiency.
Wow.
I get people off the liver transplant list all the time.
Wow. And that's a big problem today, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's a huge problem.
Fatty liver, primary sclerosing cholangitis, liver cirrhosis.
Yeah.
I've had people, pharmacists, who've had 32 liver operations at Harvard Medical School. Their livers are the size of an Oreo cookie, and I rebuild them in 2 months to a normal liver, just using the 90 essential nutrients and extra selenium.
Right.
Okay. And then there's cataracts that are caused by selenium deficiency and free radical damage, eating fried foods, free radical damage to the lens of the eye, and no selenium to protect it. And then you get cardiomyopathy of heart disease. I've done
Keyshawn syndrome.
Keyshawn syndrome,
That's right.
I've done 1,200 autopsies on kids under the age of 10 in Keyshawn province, China. 1,200 autopsies. Nobody else has ever done that.
They're all deficient.
They're all deficient in selenium. And partially because of our work there in China, every school kid, when you go to kindergarten, they get a multiple and a capsule of selenium. We've wiped out cardiomyopathy of heart disease in children in China.
That's awesome.
Is that awesome?
That's awesome. Now, isn't there an animal correlate to this Keyshawn syndrome, selenium deficiency?
Yes.
Is sheep?
Well, in every animal you can name, there's a correlation. But in pigs, they call it mulberry heart disease. In sheep, they call it stiff lamb disease, because when they get heart disease, they kind of walk with arch back, and they're kind of stiff. And in cattle, they call it white muscle disease because when you cut through the heart, instead of having this beautiful kind of reddish purple heart color, it looks like a good perch muscle. It's white, so they call it white muscle disease. And you can prevent it with
a little bit of selenium.
Well, with the 90 essential nutrients plus extra selenium. If they get it and they survive the first heart attack, or you catch it with just arrhythmias in their heart, you give them the selenium, it goes away.
How about for the thyroid?
The thyroid gland, of course, there's actually a syndrome called Wilson syndrome. The question is, how many nutrients does your thyroid require?
A lot, probably. No.
All 90.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask a physician, they'll say iodine,
right,
because it's part of the structure
right,
of the thyroxine hormone. But that's only part of the structure. But for the thyroid gland to work, it needs all 90. Duh, right? And so a lot of times when they look at the T3, T4, the TSH, and all that kind of stuff, really what they're looking for is iodine levels. And so you can be perfect. They say, well, we don't know why you're having all these symptoms of thyroid disease because, yeah, we give them iodine and nothing changes. Well, that's because it's a selenium deficiency.
That's interesting. Well, selenium is involved in the hormone as well.
Well,
it's part of the structure as well, no?
Part of the structure, but it actually is even equally importantly, it's part of the process of making the hormone, okay? And as is copper and everything else. And then, of course, it's necessary for the health of your muscles. Muscular dystrophy is a selenium deficiency.
Wow.
Now, a fellow by the name of Marvin Ropp and I, who grew up Amish, and he went in and became a Navy SEAL. Going from the Amish world to Navy SEAL, he comes back after 20 years in the SEALs. He goes back, a worldly man now, and he sees all these kids dying of muscular dystrophy in the Amish community. And so I go there and I say, well, this is what we see in calves that have muscular dystrophy or white muscle disease. And it's a selenium deficiency. So we went to Purdue University, and sure enough, in Indiana, wherever these kids are that have muscular dystrophy, there's always a selenium deficiency in the soil. So we started giving them the 90 essential nutrients, giving them extra selenium, and the muscular dystrophy goes away in a couple of weeks. Even if they've been in wheelchairs for years, we get them out of the wheelchairs and go play basketball. So we send all this information to Jerry Lewis. This is a gospel true story now. We send all this information to Jerry Lewis. 5 years.
He must have loved it.
He went crazy, positive. He loves it.
Yeah.
I said, now, Jerry, we're not asking for money. We already know the cause, prevention, and cure of muscular dystrophy in kids. We already know this. And we just think it's appropriate that we offer to you the opportunity to make the news release because you're the guy.
Muscular dystrophy.
They're Jerry's kids, right?
Yeah.
So you're the obvious guy to make the news release if you want to. If you say no, we'll be happy, but at least my conscience is okay because I've given you the opportunity. He gets excited. He takes it to the medical committee in the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation. They fire Jerry Lewis. That's why Jerry Lewis has not been on the telethon for the last 2 years.
Oh, that's an amazing story.
And they sent him on a cruise. They actually bought him a ticket to say, we have a non-disclosure contract with you, Jerry. You can lose everything. We'll sue you for everything if you bring this up. And so we're sending you on a cruise. Go enjoy yourself.
And don't bring it up again.
We want you away from here when we're having this telethon this year because everybody's going to say, well, where's Jerry? For the last 2 years, it's over with.
That's a great story.
And so they fired Jerry Lewis because we discovered the cause, prevention, cure of, and I knew what it was for a long time, but until Marvin Ropp came back from being a Navy SEAL and introduced me to the Amish community, I didn't have access to those kids.
So selenium for muscular dystrophy. But I think your point's well taken that you have to have the entire mighty 90. These things are specific for disease states, but the entire milieu of the body has to be nutriated.
That's right, because everything kind of works together.
Yeah.
And if you have to have the metabolism to be able to repair yourself. You have to have the metabolism to operate just in life. And so to think you can cherry pick one nutrient, this is one of the bad things the medical system does.
Allopathic nutrition, I call it.
Yes.
Where you just use a nutrient like it's one kind of drug, one kind of disease.
Exactly, use a nutrient as a drug.
Yeah.